Up after their goalless draw at Swindon, a match they so nearly won. At the end, Villa had to wait an agonising 9 minutes before hearing that the other results had clinched their place in the First Division, and the celebrations began. So Aston Villa are promoted with Millwall, who lost 4-1 at home to Blackburn.
At Swindon on Saturday. They had to wait 9 minutes after their game had finished before the result they wanted came through. Confirmation that both Bradford and Middlesbrough had been beaten at home. This reports from Mitch Price.
Swindon's county ground provided an unlikely setting for the climax to the season. A scrambled no-goal draw, and for the travelling Villa supporters, celebrations were only in order after confirmation that Middlesbrough had lost. But for manager Graham Taylor, it was reward for an arduous season.
We're playing on a drying out pitch with a wind against us, so we really tried to get a sort of consistent pattern, and we didn't have to win the game then, whilst those results stayed that way. But it was a bit difficult because I didn't know whether to make a substitute, but I knew that if Middlesbrough equalised, I could chase the game and go for a win. I chose not to do that and just kept my fingers crossed that everything would be okay. Unfortunately, it's worked out that way.
Yeah. Well, for Middlesbrough then, acute disappointment expecting...
List of margins, with Middlesbrough and Bradford both slipping up in their last matches.
At Swindon, the travelling fans saw a tense, anxious affair. Villa could really have wrapped it up in the second half. Gary Thompson hitting the bar with this looping header. An almighty scramble then to clear the ball. 8 minutes later, and David Platt did the same thing. But it remained goalless, and there followed an agonising 8 minutes as the Villa players and supporters waited for the results from Bradford and Middlesbrough. In the end, it was better news than anyone could have hoped for. Both rivals had lost. Goal difference had pushed Villa and the city of Birmingham back into the big time. There were joyful scenes on the pitch and on the terraces as the celebrations began. The players and the fans had spent the last period of the game listening to rumour and counter-rumour, but at last there was a happy ending. Amid all the backslapping and champagne, a tribute to the thousands who'd followed Villa this season.
They're an incredible bunch. They've followed us all over the place. They must have known something. So many people have said to me it's going to go to the Swindon game, you know, and I've hoped that it hasn't, but it has, and we've done it. Brilliant, unbelievable.
I've only lived in Birmingham for 10 months now, but it seems to me there's a resurgence of a lot of things, socially, economically, and it wants to get up and it wants to go, and it needs a First Division football club. So not only for Aston Villa supporters, but for the whole city of Birmingham, I think this is good, it's necessary.
The celebrations went on for much of the weekend. They'll continue too at Nigel Spink's testimonial on Wednesday at Villa Park and at a civic reception, the details of which are still being arranged.
Villa safely up then, but the waiting continues rather for Notts County and Worcester.